Okay, so this is the in-game announcement for a new mechanic that is going to be added to the game, and you're probably wondering how this relates to the next meta or what is going to come next, and of course I am going to be going over that in the coming minutes of this particular video. But yeah, as always, I hope you guys are having a great day, and if you do enjoy today's video, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you are new. And according to this, the announcement is going to go away in around 4 days or so, and when the announcements end, for a specific event that is going to come up, that is when they tend to release it. So it seems that we are going to be getting this new mechanic sooner than later, so I am looking forward to this and what it's going to mean for the future of the game. But moving on to the Dokkan subreddit, and as always, shout out to Koala-san for the translations. So a new mechanic called categories will be added to the game soon. What are categories? Example, for instance, SSR Bulma will have a category called Pitchy Pitchy Girl, and if we quickly move over to this, you can see that they have like a blue outline which indicates that that particular category is active, and as you can see on the right side, it's like a percentage of how this is going to work, and that absolutely means nothing to you guys until I read the next part of the translation. So if you've been characters with the category pardon me, Pitchy Pitchy Girl on your team, the rate of platinum turtle shells to drop as an additional drop for the Master Roshi event will increase. The more characters on the team of that category, the higher the rate increase. So what this essentially means is that farming is going to be easier. And keep in mind that this is just one category, and I'm going to go a bit more in depth in a few moments. And I've said that like 3 times now, but the point is, just a lot of exciting stuff being added to the game, and it's taken a while for them to implement. This is essentially a luck system, so it's taken them a while to actually implement something like that into the game, and it's exciting because it means that it will allow more units that you normally wouldn't use to be a bit more relevant. So note that the effects of the category will depend on each event. It happens that Pitchy Pitchy Girl gives an additional drop on the Master Roshi event, but it could have a different effect in a different event. More categories will be added to the game in the future. That is the important part, and one of the reasons why I think they didn't implement this sooner is because they were waiting to just introduce more characters so that they could have more categories, and it makes sense, right? There will be leader skills. This is important. There will be leader skills that will increase the stats of characters that are part of a certain category. That is massive. That is absolutely massive. As an example, attack plus 30% to characters that have the category Pitchy Pitchy Girl. In-game view of how it looks, of course, this is like the percentage. So the more units you have with that, well, within that particular category, the higher the percentage is going to be, of course. Translation of the rate increase of additional drop effects. So increased drop rate of additional drops at the end of the battle. There is a chance that an extra item will drop. So like I said before, I'm going to make farming a bit easier. The rate will increase with more characters having the affected category. If the change is 100%, it will be a guaranteed drop. If below, it will be decided on chance. There are also enemies where the additional drop will not take place. The mechanic will most likely come on the 25th of July, as this is when the announcement is supposed to go away. And yeah, the first comment, like straight away, just says a luck system is exactly what the game needs. And it kind of relates to Naruto in a way, because there is a luck system in that game, and once you get a specific character's luck to a certain level, and I believe the max is 100, it is a guaranteed drop to get an additional drop for a specific thing. But moving on to how this could potentially affect the next meta, or change it in a way, is that you could have specific units, or specific teams of course, and categories that will make it easier for you to farm certain events, because this isn't even a debate. The main, or the biggest event in the game, the main event in the game is going to be the Dokkan events the majority of the time, and if you have to run specific units or a specific category of units to get medals to drop, that would make more units relevant. And of course, when you are farming, I would imagine that you could use different teams like the Grade 8 team, and that's something that we've spoken about in the past. It's like, what if we had leads for specific units? And this would be a great way to make units like the Grade 8s relevant. You could maybe run a whole Goku team, a Fusion team, Super Saiyan Blue team, Super Saiyan 2. There are just so many possibilities for this category thing, or this category mechanic, that it puts the game in a good place, because it's making units that wouldn't normally be relevant a lot more relevant. For example, like, and here's the thing, it's not going to take away from the fact that you can still use these overpowered teams, but I think what they are trying to do is make it so that players that don't have all of these overpowered units, it basically makes it easier for them to farm these particular events, or if they want to get a specific medal for a specific unit, it makes it a lot easier if they have units that will allow them to increase the drop rate for this particular event. For example, let's say that you are taking on, like, this is most likely never going to happen, but they could update it, to be fair. Let's say that the Vegito Blue event is an event that you can't, well, it's not an event that you can't beat, but let's say that it's an event that you struggle to beat, you use all of your items up, and it takes you a while to get through, like, 20 minutes or so. If you use a particular set of units, you could get an additional drop for putting all that time in, if that makes any sense at all. And it's not to say that they won't allow you to use these overpowered teams, it's just that teams that use these specific units will benefit way more and will get more rewards for it. And this is great because I know some people that have at least like 200 SSRs and they only use a small portion of them. And this allows those specific SSRs to actually be more relevant, and it's exciting. The categories I'm honestly looking forward to the most, and of course this isn't confirmed or anything, is like maybe a fusion one. You have a Goku team, a Son Goku team, the Goku family team, Vegeta family team. There are just so many possibilities for the different characters, or different categories, pardon me, that it will allow the game to just last a longer period of time. And that's the most important thing, because Bandai are clearly trying to just focus on the longevity of the game at the moment, and this is definitely one way of doing it. They already started with the whole Goku Jr. by releasing a unit that can easily be fully maxed in the ability system, and that is one of the things that makes him an incredible unit. You see the Kaioken Goku and Pycons over on Global, who are just regular SSRs, and they are on par with some of the Dokkan exclusive units that they release. So they are releasing a lot of things that are going to help out the players that are just being introduced to the game. And this mechanic in particular is great because it makes, for one, makes farming a lot easier. It makes the events a lot more, I want to say a lot more challenging, but if they do this correctly, it could definitely make events a lot more challenging, because if you want to aim to use a particular set of units to increase the drop rate or get that additional reward, you may have to use units that aren't necessarily optimal, and that could potentially make the events a lot harder. And at the same time, you could just go ahead and steamroll the events with your overpowered teams. But my first thought was that they are going to make events specific to just a specific category. But that may not be the case at the moment. It could be something that is introduced in the future. Maybe if you are farming a particular event, there is a situation where you have to use a specific category. But when it comes to just Dokkan events, you may just have to use your regular teams. Because if you quickly go down here, there are also enemies where additional drop will not take place. So maybe this doesn't affect the Dokkan event at all. Maybe it's just for, farming regular story modes or just regular items. But I definitely think it's something that they should add to Dokkan events. And even if they don't add it to Dokkan events, just the fact that they are making the effort to make older units relevant is great. I can definitely see a Great Ape category just happening in the future, because Great Apes were like so hyped up upon release, and it was just kind of underwhelming to see that they weren't necessarily that great. But the fact that they're going to be introducing leader skills that are part of like a specific category is great. This definitely just opens a world of possibilities for the game, and it's extremely exciting because I never thought that they would implement something like this into the game. And the fact that we are finally getting like a luck-based system is just super cool. And of course, when you're farming gems and other things, having an additional drop that is guaranteed is great. And I would imagine that the people that have a ton of SSRs just sitting there are absolutely loving this idea, because they can now go ahead and use the SSRs that they initially pulled, and they may have used them for a period of time, but then they kind of dropped them after a while just because they weren't worth running. But with this, it just introduces, I've said this a bunch of times now, it introduces a ton of possibilities for the future of the game, and I'm excited to see what categories they bring. And that brings up the question, which category do you want to see being implemented into the game? And you will be featured in my next video. Your comment will just be, it'll take up the entire page basically, the entire video for a few seconds. This is the man with, or girl of course, this is the man with the highest liked category for the future of Dokkan, if it ever happens of course, and it's a possibility. There are just so many possibilities for this, and like I said before, because of how many units they have released, the possibilities for the categories are just absolutely insane. You could have one for the Dragon Ball Hero stuff, just like Universe 6, Universe 7, especially with all the Dragon Ball Super stuff that is currently going on. It's just extremely exciting. But yeah, definitely leave a comment in the comment section down below. Like I said, the highest rated one will be in the next video. And like I said, the highest rated comment will be in the next video. But as always, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. And if you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one.